Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica with Memory Box Candle Co. And I make videos all about the journey of starting a candle business. In today's video, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is talking about wholesale. So we are going to be diving into how to get started with wholesale, so specifically how to sell and where to sell. So let's go ahead and get right into it. What do you need in order to sell your candles wholesale? So you definitely want to make sure that you have a seller's permit. So a seller's permit is a wholesale license. So this kind of, when you're looking at it, is more of when you are purchasing products at wholesale cost. So your retailer should legally also have a seller's permit as well. So both of you need to have a seller's permit. And the reason why you have to have a seller's permit is because when we are purchasing our raw materials from candle suppliers, we actually are not charged tax when we have a seller's permit. And when we are selling our candles wholesale, we are not charging tax either, even if that customer is in our state where we typically collect sales tax on retail sales. But because it's selling wholesale, the only time that that sales tax is collected is when it is sold to the end consumer. So the retailer is not the end consumer. They are then selling and reselling your product, your candle, to the end consumer, where then they are collecting that sales tax so they can remit it back to the state. Something else you may want to consider is having some kind of wholesale contract or terms and conditions of the sale, whatever it is that you want to create when you are working with these retailers. That's something that we did a lot with our previous retailers that we have now transitioned onto the Fair platform because we're now solely on Fair and we don't have our own wholesale website. But I know a lot of people like to either be both on Fair and their wholesale website or just be independently on your own wholesale website. So that may be something that you may want to look into doing, either finding something online, a wholesale contract, or going through a local business attorney and having them write one for you. Whatever it is, that is something that you may want to implement. And again, now that we're on Fair, we don't do any kind of wholesale contracts just because Fair adds in kind of an extra layer of protection for the actual sale, specifically when it comes to getting paid. So traditionally in B2B businesses, which is what wholesale is because we're a business and we're selling to a business, so it's a B2B sale, so business to business. And traditionally, when it comes to selling wholesale, there's something called net 60-day terms with wholesale. So what that is it basically gives a retailer 60 days to pay the invoice amount for the sale. And that's something that is on Fair as well. I believe most of the transactions that we do are 30-day, but I think some can be up to 60-day. And with that, that is just something to know going into wholesale, that depending on who you work with, a lot of retailers kind of expect that leeway when it comes to paying for the products. Choose where you want to host your products for wholesale. So do you want to have your own wholesale website? Do you want to sell on a wholesale platform like Fair? There's pros and cons to both. If you have your own wholesale website, then you get to keep almost all of the profits and all of the sale, minus the transaction fees and whatever fees are on that hosting platform. But you have to go out and get all of your retailers and do the marketing and be able to bring them to you. Versus on Fair, you have a higher probability of retailers finding you. And a lot of retailers like that it's kind of like a one in all platforms, so they can go through and purchase brands all on one site instead of having to go individually to a bunch of different kind of individual wholesale websites. But Fair does take a commission because they're bringing customers to you. So every new sale is 15% plus a flat $10 fee. And then anytime that retailer reorders from you, it's 15% that Fair takes, plus a little bit of the transaction fees as well. So that is something to consider. Or if you want to keep it simple and just get started locally on what you are able to get into locally, then you can just work on a wholesale catalog or just a simple line sheet. Get that printed out, walk into different stores, drop off the line sheet along with a sample of your product, and see if you can talk to the owner, see if you can figure out if they're interested in purchasing from you and having your candles in their shop. Make sure your price point allows for wholesale. So what I mean by this is make sure that you're going to be making money. You don't want to not be making money with wholesale. So that's why I've always stressed the importance of understanding your cost of goods and pricing properly. So you want to make sure that you are pricing for retail at least cost of goods times 4 so that you're able to cut that in half and sell that as the wholesale price. So if it costs you $4 to make a candle, you should be selling that candle for at least $16, and wholesale would be $8 per candle. Make sure you have enough materials on hand to make and fulfill larger orders. So when it comes to wholesale, most retailers that are purchasing are not going to be just purchasing 1 or 2 candles at a time. That's not the point of wholesale. The point of wholesale, and the reason why there is a big discount of 50% off of your retail price, is because they are ordering more in bulk at once. So usually dozens of candles, sometimes hundreds of candles. So when you're first getting started with wholesale, just make sure that you have enough materials on hand. I would say make sure that you can make 100 candles with the materials that you have. When you're first getting started, you may not get, hundreds of candles for your first order. It may be like, I don't know, 15 to 30 candles. Maybe a little bit more than that. It really just depends on who you are working with. I know that for us on Fair, we have gotten a couple of inquiries for thousands of products, and we unfortunately have to turn it down because we don't have the production space for that many products. Again, very much unfortunately, because if we had the space, we would jump right on that. But as of right now, you have to know what you are able to fulfill for these orders. You don't want to accept an order that you're not able to fulfill. Figure out what your lead time is. So lead time is how long it's going to take you from the moment you get an order for you to make, package, and ship out your order. We do everything made to order, and we make that very clear on our Fair Wholesale website. So if you don't want to do made to order and you want to have everything in stock, that could be something that you want to do. But most of the time getting started with wholesale, you'll want to make everything to order. So it's best to have a lead time so that your retailers know when they can kind of genuinely expect to have your candles come in the mail. So for us on Fair, we got started with a lead time of 4 to 7 business days. And throughout the holiday time, we actually bumped it up to 8 to 10 business days. And that just reminded me that we could probably take it down back to 4 to 7 business days. And the reason why I want to do that is because it's more enticing for the retailer to see a quicker ship time than a longer ship time. So depending on the time of year, we'll adjust that. But you have to figure out what is going to be a good lead time for you. If you think, okay, well, I can't do it that fast, maybe 10 to 14 days, or maybe 14 to 17 days, whatever it is, you have to figure out what is going to be a good lead time for you to tell your retailers. You need to have a good understanding on how you will package and ship out your wholesale orders. So obviously this is not required if you're just going to be selling locally, because you can just, put things in a box, pack it, make sure it's protected, but just drop it off at the retailer. But if you are looking to ship out your wholesale orders across the country or even internationally, you need to make sure that you are going to be packaging your wholesale orders properly. We do have a video, I will link it above, on how we package up and go through the wholesale process so you can see. But essentially what we did was we took our most popular candle size, which is the 13.5 ounce Cali jars. And what I did was I measured the box, and then I went on to Uline and I found a box that was slightly bigger than that because I wanted to account for the packaging materials in there. So I ordered that box size, which I believe is a 15 by 12 by 10. And we reuse the inserts that come inside the boxes when we get the jars. And that is just going to add in additional protection, but it also lets us know, okay, we can fit 24 of our larger candles inside of this box. And we know that any of our other products, like our smaller candles, will be able to fit inside of this box as well. Obviously, we can fit more of the smaller candles in there than the larger candles, but we just use that as a baseline when we are getting started. So that's probably what I would recommend for you to do. Just take your most popular candle size and see if you are able to find a box that's a little bit bigger to account for the extra packaging that's going to go in there. And then we also put that box inside of a larger box with more padding, because you have to make sure that you are protecting your item so that the retailer doesn't have broken items once they get it. You really want to take your time ahead of time to make sure that you are packaging it up properly. Chris is like a pro now with that, so make sure you go watch those videos if you are curious or kind of nervous about shipping out a lot of candles. Determine what your minimums are going to be. So this is going to be your minimum order value, and then also the minimum amount of scent and sizes that a retailer will need to purchase from you, which is also called your case sizes. So in terms of your total order dollar amount, this is going to be how much they have to reach in order to be able to get wholesale pricing. So I know a lot of times people have like $250, $300 plus that the retailer is required to hit, and that is something that we used to do as well. But being on Fair, we actually lowered it to $100 to try to encourage new retailers to just try us out. And then we try to just basically grab a hold and keep them coming back to us as much as we can. But you just want to make sure that you have your minimum set so that the retailer has a good understanding of that dollar amount that they have to hit before they're able to place an order with you. And then the same thing goes for how many of each scent and size that needs to be purchased at a time. So these are case sizes. So this is within a specific scent and a specific size. They have to order X amount at a time. For us, we do cases of 4. So if it's a vanilla candle in a small size, they have to order 4 small vanillas in order to be able to place an order for that specific scent. So, and it is scent and size based. So they have to order it in the same scent and the same size in order to be able to order it, basically. Create sample packs. So this is my last point in this video, but I think it's important for you to think about how you're going to be doing this, because with our business being a candle business, a lot of retailers are going to want to either try out your product or smell your different scents that you have before placing a larger order. So think about how you want to distribute and create a sample pack for your customers, because more than likely they're going to ask. So it's best for you to start thinking about it now. And what I learned is it's actually called a scent discovery kit or pack or whatever it is. That's something that I had been requested multiple times from different retailers on Fair when we first got started. And I'm like, what is that? Do we charge for that? Do we, So I think that some wholesalers will charge for a scent discovery pack, and some people will give it out complimentary. We choose to give it out complimentary with any new retailer that purchases from us. And then anytime we add on new fragrances, then we will just start adding those in to the kind of returning customer orders that we're getting in. So even if they're not a new customer, we still like to just, send out these samples, because a lot of times people just are so grateful to get that as a sample, and it really gives them a reason to keep coming back from us. And that is the whole point, is we really want to grab a hold of our customers and keep them coming back. So these are my tips and pieces of advice with getting started with wholesale, things to be thinking about as you are, deciding on whether or not it's for you and your business. We absolutely love it. We have had such great luck and a lot of business over the past 7-8 months now, and it has just been a huge blessing for us in our business. Also, if you are interested in getting started on Fair, I will leave our referral link down in the pinned comment below if you want to apply using that link. But with that, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to leave it a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at MemoryBoxCandleCo, and I will see you in my next video.